As-salamu Alaykum. Hello kids, how are you today? Today, I'm going to tell you the story of a very important prophet in Islam. The story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Now listen carefully. Do you remember the story of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam that I told you the other day? If you do, then you would know that he had two wives, Rachel and Leah. Prophet Yaqub loved Rachel the most, and she gave birth to two sons. The eldest was called Yusuf alayhi salam, and the younger one was called Binyamin. Prophet Yaqub had 12 sons in total, but he loved Yusuf and Binyamin the most. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was a handsome and smart boy when he was young, with polite habits and good manners. He had an excellent personality as well. Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam had a deep affection for Yusuf, more than his other children. His brothers soon began to feel jealous of him. They wanted to get rid of Yusuf one way or the other. The story of Yusuf alayhi salam starts with the story of his dream. One night, the little boy had a real strange dream. When he woke up, he felt strange. So he ran straight to his father and told him about his dream. "Oh, father, I saw a dream. I saw 11 stars, the sun and moon prostrating before me." His father listened attentively to the little boy's dream, and when he was finished, the father's face shone with joy. The old prophet realized that the dream meant fulfilling a prophecy. He told Yusuf that one day his 11 brothers and himself would bow down before him. The little boy did not understand what it meant. His father assured him that he will understand it later, and he also warned him not to talk about this to his brothers. The 10 older brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam were already jealous of Yusuf and Binyamin. Satan, who always loved trickery and deception, was now sowing seeds of discord between Yusuf and his brothers. The jealousy soon blinded their hearts. "Our father loves Yusuf and Binyamin more than us," said one of the brothers. "That's true," said the other. "We must do something about it." "We are older and stronger than him," said another. "Our father is clearly long to love him more than us. We should kill him and get rid of him." "I have another idea," said the eldest brother, who didn't want to kill Yusuf. "Let us throw him in a well. Someone would find him and take him along as a slave." Without realizing that Satan was playing with them, they decided to go ahead with their plans. They asked their father to let Yusuf go with them while they worked in the fields. But Yaqub alayhi salam was scared. "I am worried that the wolves might catch him," he said. "Don't worry, father," said one brother. "We will take good care of him." Even though Yaqub alayhi salam suspected something was wrong, he eventually let them take Yusuf with them as well. The brothers took Yusuf alayhi salam far away from home. As they neared the well, one brother held Yusuf from behind. Yusuf alayhi salam was startled. "What are you doing?" he asked them. Soon, the other brothers joined in holding Yusuf. Yusuf struggled to free himself, but the brothers held him tightly. Then one of them removed his shirt, and once they removed his shirt, they threw him down into the deep well. "Help me, my brothers!" Yusuf alayhi salam cried. "I have done nothing wrong. Please don't leave me here." But the brothers returned home, leaving the young boy in the well. On their way back, they caught a ram and killed it. Then they drenched Yusuf's shirt in its blood. "Ha ha! Now we can show this shirt as proof to father. We can tell him that the wolves took him." The brothers then returned home weeping. When Yaqub alayhi salam asked them why they were crying, they replied, "Father, wolves took our little brother. It was just as you warned us," said one of them. Then they showed him Yusuf's shirt, drenched in blood. But Yaqub alayhi salam quickly realized that they were lying. He saw the shirt was not ripped anywhere. He knew that when a wolf attacks someone, it rips the person's clothing. The old prophet was a very wise man indeed. "I know you are lying," he said. "You have made up this story." Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam had no option but to trust God and turn to him with hope and patience. Deep in the well, Yusuf was terrified, and he clung to a ledge in the well. That night, both father and son turned to God in the deep darkness of the night. A mixture of hope and fear filled their hearts. The next day, a group of travelers going to Egypt stopped camped near the well. They decided to draw some water from the well. As they lowered their bucket into the well, Yusuf alayhi salam reached out and clung to the rope. The man was surprised by the weight of the bucket. He was shocked and surprised when they saw a child clinging to the rope. He called his companions for help. They were all amazed at the sight of this beautiful child who stood before them. "What good news!" they cried together. They were overjoyed as they knew that they could get a lot of money by selling this handsome boy. Not realizing the significance of this little boy, they chained him and took him to the slave markets of Egypt. The news of this beautiful boy spread fast, and people gathered in the hundreds to see him. It was then that Aziz, who was the chief minister, saw him. He sensed something special with the boy, so he paid a handsome amount to the traders and bought the young prophet. This way, God placed Yusuf alayhi salam into the home of the second most important person in Egypt. When they reached the palace, Aziz ordered the chains binding Yusuf alayhi salam to be removed. The young prophet was happy and relieved when he heard this. The chief minister then asked his wife to make his stay comfortable at the palace. Aziz promised the prophet that he will never be ill-treated at the palace, and warned him to never betray his trust. It was clear that God was in control of all the affairs here. It was not long ago that the little boy had to survive a whole night in a well, surrounded by darkness. He was now living with one of the most powerful men in Egypt. Yusuf alayhi salam grew into manhood in the house of Aziz. As the prophet grew up, God blessed him with wisdom and knowledge. The chief minister recognized these qualities and therefore put him in charge of the household affairs. Everyone who knew him, including the wife of Aziz, Zulaykha, acknowledged the young man's beauty, honesty, and nobility. She watched him grow into a handsome young man and became more attracted to him as days passed. The prophet's beauty soon became the talk of the town. People thought him to be the most beautiful man alive. Zulaykha was in love with the prophet, and she couldn't resist her temptations anymore. So one day, she closed the doors of her bedroom and tried to seduce the prophet. But Yusuf alayhi salam resisted her advances and sought help from God. "I will never betray your husband," said the prophet. "He has been good to me and treated me with respect." But the prophet's refusal only increased her passions. He tried to flee, and she raced him to the door. Zulaykha reached for his shirt and tore it from the back. At that moment, the door opened and Aziz walked in. Immediately, even without a moment's hesitation, Zulaykha tried to turn the situation around. She cried to her husband, "What is the punishment for one who had an evil design against your wife?" "It was she who already tried to grab me," the Prophet tried to deny her. One of their relatives suddenly appeared and offered a solution. If his shirt was torn from the back, which it was, it meant that he was trying to escape, and she was running after him, tearing the shirt from the back. There was solid proof now. The chief minister was in a dilemma. He apologized to the Prophet for the wife's behavior. He then asked the Prophet to remain silent on the matter. The Prophet obliged and didn't say a word to anyone about the incident. But the news of this incident somehow got leaked, and it became the talking point of the whole town. The women of the city began to talk about Zulaykha's infatuation with her slave. People laughed at her wherever she went. Hello, kids! Did you like the video? Do you want to know what happened to the Prophet after this incident? Then don't forget to watch the next episode. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and that bell icon to keep updated on all our new releases. If you liked the video, please share it with your friends as well. That's all for today. I will tell you the next story tomorrow. Goodbye!